again, everyone. It's James back here in the tech booth, and I'm on camera now for a change because Ashley and I are going to talk to you a little bit about what's been going on the last few weeks. If you've been around at Days at Dunrovin watching us throughout the week, you've seen some tractors pull up, you've seen trucks driving in circles, you've seen dirt flying. I mean, it's just been a circus around here. So we're going to show you what exactly we've been up to here. And we've got a little bit of behind the scenes footage that we put together. And this first little clip I'm going to show you is how the tractor was working down over the bank in the Putopia area, as we affectionately refer to it, where all the manure gets dumped and it goes and kind of naturally composts. And what we have to do every so often is take it and turn the pile. So we take the stuff on top, put it on the bottom. We take the stuff on the bottom that's been heated and compressed and done its all natural biotic stuff, and that's all good soil now. And we put that in a manure spreader. We pull that behind the truck, and it just throws stuff everywhere. And it's kind of fun to watch it all happen. But it's not a huge manure spreader. It's substantial when you walk up next to it, but when you put a load of dirt in there and spread it around, it's amazing how quickly it goes on these pastures. And we don't have huge pastures by any stretch. So I'm going to just show you what that process looks like, and then Ashley and I are going to come back and talk about that for a little bit, and then we'll talk about what this was in preparation for. So I'm going to go ahead and roll that clip right now. Skid steer, they call it, because you skid the tires on one side to steer it in that direction. So the skid steer is working its magic here, leveling out some stuff. And this is actually the second day after they were first here. So we took a little bit of break. This was after we had spread some manure on the large pasture the first time. He's just leveling some things out, cleaning a few things up, smoothing things. And we've already moved all the stuff on top, all the manure on top. We've moved it over to that pile on the other side of the hill there. You can see part of it as I'm walking towards it there. And that's all the fresh stuff. And all this pile that's right behind the tractor, that is the nice composted dirt, all that manure that's been compressed and heated and gone through its natural processes is back there. And he's scooping away, getting ready to get a bucket, and he's going to dump it into the back of the manure spreader. So check this out. This is a lot of fun. For this shot here, I'm actually riding in the back of the truck. Ashley's driving. We've loaded up the manure spreader, and it's not really doing much right now, and that's because all those levers, those two levers on the top there that you see in the foreground, those have to be engaged in order for the manure spreader to start doing its thing. So we're driving over to the north pasture. We've already done most of the south pasture there that we're driving through. So we drive on over, and then we just stop the truck real quick. You'll see me get out, and I will engage those levers. The lever on the left that you see runs the teeth on the back of it, the auger basically, and then the lever on the right is a speed control for the conveyor belt underneath. And you'll see where I can push it all the way down to go super fast, or run it up a little bit to go slower. And I'm using the second to the fastest notch. And I'll stay in the truck, I'll guard my eyes, and here we go. We're taking off. You can see that auger in the back start churning around, and then the conveyor belt starts to move all that dirt towards the back, one notch at a time, and then things just start flying. And we drive that circle and spread this out and try to get it as even as we can and go back for more. So it's amazing how quickly this goes. You'll also notice as you get towards the end here that there can be some chunks of wood and debris and even some pretty substantial rock that we can run into. And fortunately, this kind of has a way of picking those rocks back into the trailer so it doesn't gum up the works there and ruin anything. So it's a pretty ingenious design, all things considered. So you can see how quickly this just shears through the dirt. It's phenomenal. So we try to find just the right setting with the conveyor belt that it gets enough manure and dirt spread out on the pasture, but also doesn't take us all day to do it. So we kind of keep working all the rest of that dirt out, keep going in that circle, and here I've sped it up as we go around. You'll actually see the rock that I pull out here in just a minute. Yeah, that was that process, and it took us the better part of one full afternoon, and then we had there's Ashley. How many circles did you drive in, Ashley?
I didn't keep track. There's no point. Oh, I think now I'm unmuted. Yeah. I did not keep track of circles. There was no point.
Yeah, it was a lot. We took turns. You would take a lunch break. I'd start driving, and we got in a pretty good flow there, which was nice. But
there was only one time where I tried to take off without you putting the thing back up.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I forgot. I was like, wait, no, I need to stop.
Yeah. So when we were in the big pasture, we'd run around, and we didn't have to worry about moving those too much until we went to the far end, right? Mm-hmm. But when we came out here, we didn't want to throw manure all over the corral and sorting pen area. So it was an interesting time. And of course, that wagon got a workout. We've used that maybe 3 years ago, but not nearly like we did this time. So we put a really good layer down, and we used all of the compost that was pretty much available.
Yeah, now all there is like fresh poop at the top that we've been dumping in. So I think one day I just need to get up there with like eye protection and an N95 and just start raking it down. So, because they couldn't get up there with the tractor it was too steep, so they couldn't get up to the top, push everything down without like slipping and sliding around everywhere.
And it was really soft too.
Yeah, so we're going to have to go in and do that manually now. But at least the majority of it is, all over the fields now. Yeah.
And so what ended up happening is we had Sterling go out there, and I'm going to see if I can find this spot where Sterling starts running around. And we did all of this in preparation for running seed. And so we've got to put seed on there to what do they call it? Overseeding?
Yeah.
So we're overseeding the pasture. Obviously, there's already grass there. It's growing. It's doing its thing.
But it's not great.
It's not great, especially in some spots. Mm-hmm. There are a lot of weeds. So the idea is that we overseed it. We boost it with nutrients. give that grass a chance to get hold, and hopefully it will start choking the weeds out, right?
Yeah, because if the grass has all of the coverage and it's taking up all the space, then the weeds have no sunshine, they don't get any water, they don't have anywhere to go. And also, if your soil is nice and fertile and things like that, then the weeds are like, oh, this is too good for me. I'm going to get out of here. Because weeds like really bad soil. That's how you know when you have bad soil going on, is that there's a lot of weeds growing there. Gotcha. So that's why they grow in like sidewalk cracks and in gravel and stuff like that, because it's terrible ground that no grass wants to grow in, and the weeds are like, I'm home. I'm going to live here. So if we can make it as lush and green as possible, then we should have very minimal weeds. I mean, things are always going to pop up.
Yeah. And Suzanne mentioned why we are enjoying the weather today, and I'll run this clip real quick and we'll talk about why that is.
Like every time we drive over it, you get more strings.
All right, so yeah, Sterling spent the better part of the weekend running up and down the fields doing that the whole time. He took that lawn tractor. We had the seed spreader that you saw Freddie on earlier today. He's getting in on the action. But we spread, I don't know how many pounds of seed Sterling put on. Was it 100 pounds? He had 2 huge bags. And seed's pretty light, but they were big bags. So I'm not sure if it was like 75 or 100 pounds or whatever, but he spread out a lot on the entire south pasture and then also on the north pasture. So Suzanne's thrilled because today we got rain.
Yeah, I was getting kind of worried. Like, it was getting pretty hot over the weekend, and I could see some stuff starting to burn, like especially over by the bench. Wow. The grass is getting pretty toasty, so I was like, we either need to get some rain or put the irrigation back together, and then sure enough, we get rain this week. So I'm happy about it too.
Yeah, and we do need to get the irrigation out, so that's probably going to happen later this week because it's going to be sunny again. And I think, it will continue to go through some freeze and thaw, but the hard freeze, I think, is mostly over. Yeah. So I think our hardware will be up for the challenge of that. And we'll start doing that. I don't know how moving the hoses and sprinklers is going to affect the grass. I guess that's going to be okay. It just packs it down more. Probably. Is it going to disturb it too much or anything?
I don't think so. Okay. The birds are already
That's true.
jumping around on the fields eating the seeds, which is why it's also good to overseed, because you get birds, you get wind, you get stuff just blowing the seeds around. Mm-hmm. But once they kind of take root, then you're pretty much okay. Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, so you're going to see us start lugging hoses around. It's going to be...
I told Ryan it's coming.
That's where the real work starts, right? Yeah, it's legit. So
you're going to get your hours in for sure.
Yeah. I think we've got some folks lined up. Maybe a neighbor guy down the field here might be able to come over once summer starts and help with the irrigation and some lawn work. And so, yeah, it's always it's kind of a rude awakening to spring when you have to start hauling hoses around. You're like, oh, this is what we do all summer. Okay.
So, every day.
Yeah.
4 times a day.
It'll be fun. But anyway, that's what we've been up to. That's why we're happy about today's weather. And I think it's starting off well so far.
Yeah.
So
it was a good combination of good timing too. At least we didn't do this all when it was this week and it was starting to rain. We got it all done when it's warm, and now we can be excited about the rain.
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't leave too many ruts in the grass. We didn't make too much of a mud pit down there. It was,
and where that tractor tracks are, that got covered in seed, right?
Yep.
So that'll get grass
that'll
on it.
grow back. It'll be fine. It'll be great compost. It's probably got 4 inches there. Yeah. I don't know, like horse manure is a little hotter than cow manure, I think.
No, it's the other way around.
It's the other way around. Okay. So it's not as hot, so it doesn't have as much nitrogen and chemicals or, those phosphates and all this other stuff you want in there. Still, when you put a lot on there, fertilizer, we put some in the garden last year, and it burnt our squash and all kinds of stuff. So some of that stuff can still be pretty hot from a chemical perspective. So we've got a lot of pasture out there, though, so I don't think we're at risk of burning anything.
I don't think so, and it's still cool enough because, you get the sunlight plus the warmth of the manure, and then it starts burning stuff, but, we've got some cloudy days, and I think everything got spread far enough that it's not concentrated enough in one area that it's actually just going to, burn up on something. Because if you just dump, a pile of it in the garden, then, you might get some burnings that'll get hot.
Sure.
But it's everywhere.
Now, you did some pH testing last year, right?
Yeah.
And was that helpful with kind of determining what we needed to do? Did that inform our decisions of how we applied stuff this year?
I don't necessarily think so, but most of our soils were pretty neutral.
Okay.
And so I know that most of grass is kind of a little bit more on the acidic side, so a little lower towards 5, 6, and then into 7. But nothing was too basic. We don't have to add lime to anything or stuff like that. So we're in good shape for growing grass.
Okay.
If we were trying to grow different kind of specialty vegetables or crops or whatever, we might have to do some soil adjustments or amendments, but we're okay to grow grass. Just water and seeds and sunlight.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, we may find some areas. We'll see how the seed got spread. I know there's an area out here on the other side of the orchard that tends to be kind of, the ground is pretty, I don't know if it's just porous or what. It's not got enough clay, or it seeps out, it's too sandy.
And there's a couple of rocky spots over by the automatic water that the grass just doesn't hold on to there. Plus areas where the horses walk frequently, or they'll poop along the fences. If they're pacing along the fence or something, they'll just rip up whatever ground is in there.
Right.
So it just kind of depends on what it's being used for and how harshly it's being used.
Yeah. So we'll probably try to keep up with the harrowing a little bit better this year. We did okay last year, but the fields really got worked pretty good because we weren't doing riding all the time.
Yeah, so the horses were out there all day long,
all the
just
time,
chewing it down to golf green.
Yeah. So anyway, it'll be a little different this year. So we'll see what we can do to juice up these pastures. So
and we're gonna try really well to do the rotational grazing to split the pasture up into more sections, get them actually on different spots for a week or so.
Okay, awesome. Well, this is a work in progress. So and this is part 1 of Ranch Talk. We've got part 2 coming up. Ashley's going to head outside and we're going to show you what's what with the feeders. And I've got a little demonstration we'll do and some discussion out there. So you want to head out and get ready to take that away, and then
see you out there.
We'll get on with things here and try to see what's happening. So I'm going to switch over to the ranch cam now, and I've got a couple tire feeders staged down there so we can see what's going on. And Ashley's going to go out with a box and do a little unboxing exercise. So I'm going to mute my mic and we'll listen to her.
Oh, you got it out of the rain for me. How nice. Okay, well, I'm assuming I'm good to go because I was already live. I guess we've got our tires here. I think are coming to a conclusion on the direction that we want to go with the the hay hoop project. Today we're going to talk about the plywood bottoms that are going in there. But first, I have an unboxing video. How exciting, just like a real YouTuber. So this I ordered from a company online called DIY nets or something. The company name on here says Animal Bedding Supply Company, but they make all their own hay netting, and I ordered us a sample size just so we can kind of check out what their product is. And this is what we received. So about a 3 square foot rectangle kind of thing. But this netting is a little bit different than what we currently use. This is more of like a rounded kind of rope, and it's got ties in each corner, so it makes little diamond shapes. But I'm thinking we're gonna go with either probably this size or the size just one below it, just like 20 cents cheaper, I think, and a 1/4 inch smaller squares. So I was looking online, and to get horses started on eating out of slow feeders, going between 1 3/4 inch and 2 inch squares is going to be ideal. But we do also have the minis, the little guys. So for them, 1 inch to 1.5 inch is good. So I'm thinking either 1.5 inch or 1 3/4 inch for the horses is probably what we're going to end up going with. But I liked this. I got the approval from Suzanne. She liked it. So we're going to calculate out how much we're going to need total, and then see what that ends up coming to. But I think we're getting one step closer to that. So here comes James now. And this stuff, it feels tough. It feels like they're not going to be able to.
I think it's tougher than our existing hay nets.
Yeah, it's not stretchy at all. It's very, very rigid.
I was afraid it was going to be more almost fishing net like, but you're getting this from an ag supplier,
right.
So
that's what they do.
They know what they're talking about. So what we need to do is confirm. It's that whole measure twice, cut once thing. We need to confirm that the sizing is going to be right. Right. So what I've got is a piece of plastic. There's all kinds of formulas we can use for this, but it's always nice to get an empirical set of data. And this is one of the largest tires we have. In fact, I'll show you more of that in the way it looks on the bottom. But this is a pretty wide circle. It's pretty deep. This one might be a little deeper, but it's a little narrower as well. So what I thought we'd do is we'd take a piece of plastic, and it is going to be on a hoop, but we want to push that into the bottom.
Yeah, I want it draping kind of inside. I don't want it across the top. Because the one that we have for Captain Lewis right now is still too tight, and so he has problems getting the little, corners or on the outside.
And I've brought this up a few times, but I'm not quite sure how this netting is going to be delivered to us, if it's in like a long rectangle that we unroll, or if it's got to have straight edges somewhere.
Yeah.
So, and we're going to cut it a certain way, so we need to kind of figure out what the most efficient way to do it is. But let's just say we have this set up. Does that look about the way you want it?
I think so.
Okay. So if I take this, and I'm just going to cut this, and Paula, if you're watching, yes, these are your scissors, and they may not be useful for what you want them for later because of all this.
Dirty? No. Excuse me.
The diva is always getting in the middle of it.
No.
If there's an open door, they will go through it. And if there's not a door, they might make one.
Yeah, she's going to shove her big head through there.
So I'm just going to cut this to an approximate kind of size.
Yeah, so you're cutting from the outside.
And we do have a little bit of, folding going on.
Yeah, it is hard to put a square into a circle.
It is a bit. So that's kind of where we're at with that. So now what we do is we pull that out, and we kind of see approximately what that looks like, and we take some measurements.
Well, so we can measure the diameter of it.
So we can just fold it out on top of those.
I just want to lay it flat on the ground.
And that's sort of an oval.
Yeah. This might be a bit more than I was thinking for the majority of them.
I mean, it's like 4 feet by... Yeah, it's almost 4 by 4. It's a little bit slightly bigger than that, but the nice thing with the netting is it does naturally fold, so we don't probably need it exactly that big, but 4 by 4, that's 16 square feet.
That was the math that I was doing.
Yep. So math checks out.
Yeah. Great. Branch math.
Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of what we're looking at. I don't know. I mean, in terms of the square, I mean that stuff does fold up really nice, but pushing
And we'll
that
have it
in
like
there.
around the hoop, so it's not like it's going to be like trying to fit a square into there. It's just
Exactly.
like getting it around the circle.
Yeah, and it stretches and it makes those squares diamonds and
Yeah.
does all this stuff. So yeah, I think it'll probably be okay.
All right.
So that's that little confirmation.
Good. I'm glad my math worked out.
Yeah. So I'm going to grab the wood bottoms here. And we're going to see what that's all about. So we have a problem. And that problem is these wood bottoms were designed to sort of almost be suspended in here by strings. And the nice thing about that is water could come out and get out the sides, right? The downside of that is a couple-fold. One was you drag these through the mud, it splooges in to the gap and gets caught in there. The second thing is that these things just get beat up like crazy dragging along the ground. So the idea is to take a slightly larger piece and go on the inside of this and allow that to set in there so it's not directly on the ground. And then we'll drill holes in here for water drainage. Now, the problem with this one is it's such a large tire that just barely fits in. I mean, it's very, very tight. You can see already we're getting gravel in there.
And this is definitely like the larger of the ones. The majority of them are not this big.
So I'm going to have to use a bigger piece. This is about 25 inches in diameter.
But that'll work on this one.
It will work for that one, yep. And so that fits right in there. And what I'll do, that's pretty thick rubber down in there, so what I'm going to do is screw it in to there, and it'll tack into that, and it'll be solid.
And it won't back itself out or
exactly, it won't flop around or all that. Now, what we do need to test with this is how secure it is. I mean, when we move these things around, when we roll them, when the horses pick them up and toss these things,
which they do.
Does it stay put? Because we don't want to be screwing stuff into this and then have it fall apart and have screws everywhere. That would be a safety hazard. So anyway, this piece, that's 25 inches, that will fit this. It's just unfortunate that we have to go to that size because that means that all of my plywood that is 4 feet wide, I can only get one piece out of this if it's over 24 inches, right? So I have to use as much of this wood as I can. And plywood, if you haven't been to the hardware store lately, whew, it is expensive. One sheet of this 3/8 inch plywood, $42. It's crazy.
For how long?
For a 4x8 piece of plywood.
Oh my gosh.
It used to be half that not long ago. So anyway,
Everyone at home for COVID doing all their projects bought up all the plywood.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Or the trees caught on to the pandemic pricing.
Right.
So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and screw this in real quick. Set that down. Get the gravel out of there. And that fits real nice in there. I like that. And I got, this is another thing we're testing here. I have 1 5/8" screws. I want enough meat on there so that it stays, but I don't want it to poke through the other side. So I don't know what's going to do it here. And it doesn't have to be, again, like super crazy in there. It just needs to stay. It needs to stay put.
Like Augie, stay put.
Oh gosh, yeah. You're gonna have PTSD after this training.
I'm already traumatized.
All right, so we've got that in there. And let's see how that looks. So we are poking through a little bit in some spots, not all of them.
This one and this one, just a little bit.
And so I just need to angle it in a little bit more. In fact, I'm over the edge too far is what I'm at. So I could actually bring it down in there. So we'll do that. Let's see, it's that one and that one?
Yeah.
Okay. So instead of angling towards the edge, I'll reposition it and angle it straight down. Okay, let's see how that looks. Poking through it all?
Nope.
I think we're clear.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right.
Cool.
So, and it wouldn't matter as much if you have something underneath there, but we want to avoid it at all costs. So there we go. Piece of solid wood in the base there. You're not going to get mud and sand coming up inside of that, but it should withstand rolling around and slamming up and down without coming out.
Yeah. Which, like, I don't pick them up and throw them around like that, so.
The horses do.
Yeah, right.
So, okay, I'm going to turn that over. I'm going to get a drill bit, and we're going to drill some holes in that wood. I'm just going to drill some nice big 1/2-inch holes. Probably doesn't need to be that big, but we'll put, I don't know, how many you want in there? 4, 3, 5?
Yeah, we can do 5. 1 in the center and then 4 around.
Sounds good. All right.
Oh.
Yeah. Let's see, we'll do some. All right. There we go. So we have drainage holes.
Woohoo!
That ought to work well.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think.
And you don't think drilling the holes is going to ruin the integrity of the plywood?
I mean, it'll actually help save it over time because the water won't be standing in there and cause any problems. And it will cause less warping of the wood overall.
Yeah.
I mean, over time, it'll cause problems, but I don't know when these last feeders were put together, but it's still pretty intact. Yeah. I mean, it's been chewed up.
Yeah, that's the most damage, that it's been chewed up.
And it's been sitting on mud and everything else, but it's not like disintegrated. I mean, it's in tough shape, but it's not terrible.
Yeah, and so I don't know, like, that's why I'm trying to design these to be get the most longevity that we can out of them, because it is an expensive project, so you want it to last for a long time. So,
yeah, we're spending real money on this.
Yeah.
I mean, $40 a sheet of plywood, and I don't know, we're looking at about $4 for the hardware on each feeder. Yeah. And you multiply all of this times 19 or 20.
Yeah, if we had like 3 horses, then this would be no big deal. Right. But like, you know, making almost 2 dozen of them.
Yep, absolutely. So anyway, that's kind of what we've been up to, kind of fussing around with these boards, and I'm glad to see that size has worked out. So my next job, I think this is going to work pretty well.
So the 25-inch circle?
For this type of feeder, this one will need a 26-inch.
Well, we could probably, I don't know if we should just make the 19 of them, or if we should make them into all of our tires.
Well, some of the tires can use a 24-inch.
Yeah. Which
means I can get 2 pieces out of a 4-inch width, or a 4-foot width, right? So if I can gain efficiency on some of them, I would like to.
We'll probably have to go through all of them and just measure out what we have.
And I can group them all together, do the assembly line thing and all of that. We'll just gather
just have them all lined up out here one day from smallest to largest.
Put a time lapse on. Absolutely. I'm sure Freddie can supervise too.
Of course. Yeah, because there's, I think, 5 were in the arena. There's 4 or 5 out in the sorting pen. There's some in Lonza's stall and the ones that are back there. There's a bunch in the barn right here. So we definitely have enough. And there's the ones with the littles in there. We definitely have enough for each animal. Yeah. And then some.
So now that this one is kind of tidied up, do you want to use it for Augie or whomever you might have in the sorting pen?
We can.
For later?
Yeah, we can try it out.
Move it there whenever it's appropriate for tomorrow when he's back or whatever you've got.
I think all of them out there have bottoms on them.
Okay.
Yeah. I think everything we have so far. I've been trying to keep track of like what we are using for the animals and make sure they all have bottoms.
And are we, the ones that have the existing bottoms that sort of are suspended there, are we keeping those until they break? Or
I mean,
what's our...
I don't see why not. Like why... And we can also find or scrounge up whatever bottoms that we already have and maybe just do the old-fashioned tie it on with some baling twine just to get them attached, just to save on, you know, how much stuff that we do need to buy.
Sure.
Because if we already have the supplies on hand, then like why the heck not use it?
Yep, absolutely. All right, awesome. Well, I think we should put this into service as soon as we can and give it a good test and make sure it stands up to whatever rigors it needs to go through. I don't see why it won't, but you never know. I've been proven wrong so many times here with trial and error. Something
I'm thinking of is when we feed with a hay bag, like I'll do it for the divas when we need to feed them in the stall, put their hay in the net, and then I will wrap the string around the tire itself and then put the bag in there so they can't just knock it out, and so that way they're not tripping over the string. So I'm wondering how I can do that with this.
We could give you a little clip in there.
Okay.
We're going to need one anyway. So I can put a little eye bolt and you can just clip it on like we do with the hoop.
Well, then I would just be worried about the string being too long. Because that's why I wrap it around, is to take up all the length on that string and then just make it stay in there.
Yeah, well, we could clip that hoop to the actual top of the bag, kind of gather it and not even use the string. I mean, as long as it's secured.
Yeah, I think we have a lot of those double-ended clips we could use. Okay.
That'll work. Or a carabiner or something. Yeah. Quick link. All right. Well, that was, those are the main chores we had to sort of sort through today. And I think we're in pretty good shape. So I've got what I need to start making more of these circles. I just need to take a few measurements and get cutting. And I might make a video of that process just for kicks. But it looks like that method will work, and we'll test it out. You can let me know. If this method of attachment does not work, the more robust way to do it, we'd have to basically drill through and through bolt it. And if I through bolt it, I'll probably only do 2 locations because through bolt is going to be super solid. But I don't think we're going to have to do that.
I don't think so. Like these things, they do get tossed around, but not like they're not picking them up and throwing them in the air.
Or folding them over.
Folding them, so they're not really doing that. What they're mainly doing is just like moving them around just so they can get the little bits of hay that are on the ground next to it. So this is the majority of what they're doing to move it. So it's not like they're just like chucking it across the field.
Sometimes I feel that's what they're doing. But,
Hi, buddy.
Hey, buddy. Hey. So, alrighty, awesome. Well, I will let you sign us off. I'll go switch the cams, but this was fun.
Cool.
So,
thanks for your help.
You betcha.
Pony. You're just so curious. You gotta come check it all out, huh? Alrighty, well, thank you everyone for joining us. I don't even know if I'm in camera. I'm just trying to hang out with the pony. This has been a very fun ongoing project, and I'm glad that we were able to figure it out step by step. So I think we're going to do some more math and calculations on prices for the hay netting, and then kind of figure out what kind of hardware is left that we need to then go ahead and kind of mass produce. No. To kind of mass produce this for all 19 animals. So hopefully we can get that figured out soon. Luckily we have until like the end of May to get something figured out before we bring all the horses back over. But thank you so much for joining us for our Ranch Talk segment, and we will see you at 2 p.m. for highlights from the nest with Suzanne. See you in a little bit.
is 40 minutes.